What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I'm Andrea Renee, joined by Miss Christine Steimer.
Hello.
And Miss Brittney Brombacher.
Hello.
Ladies, it's so good to have you here.
Feels like we've been here before.
We have. Turns out it was yesterday.
It was.
So what we're referring to, of course, is our monthly Patreon exclusive streams. If you've yet to join us at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, this month we had some extra shenanigans on top of our normal shenanigans because we had been promising to try some edible underwear.
What a disappointment. Wow. I mean, I was going to say I ate one entirely.
No,
so
that one was good.
The peach one was tasty.
That one was good. So we got
tasty.
the peach. So the mind-boggling thing of all of this is we got edible underwear for him and for her.
Yes.
They were the exact same shape.
Yes.
Except
that
for
was the head scratcher.
the one for the men's, though, I think had been on the shelves for a little too long because
Right.
it was like rock hard.
Yeah.
That's what she
yeah,
said.
and like that's if you'd break your teeth.
And the other one was supposed to be chocolate, strawberry flavor, whatever.
Oh god, that was
tasted like chemicals.
horrible.
Not great.
It was like the film backing that comes on a fruit roll up. You know, you get the fruit
Yeah,
roll up,
but
and
not
then
the
there's that
actual
little
fruit
film
roll up.
part.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like the film part of the fruit roll up, and they forgot to put the actual fruit roll up on it,
It was real bad.
It was no bueno.
Yeah.
and it turned you super red.
Yeah, my whole mouth was red. It was great, though.
and
you
we were
just
like,
bit
imagine
into
putting
someone.
this on your body and just having your like,
Stained.
yeah, it's stained.
Yep.
Your private.
So
stained.
if you want to venture into a new business, ladies and gentlemen, there is a wide
There's a
market,
market.
there for edible undies.
That
They're
are
not doing
actually
it
good.
right. Oh, then we got the candy
The
one
candy
too.
necklace
Yeah.
one was pretty good because it's a candy necklace that's a thong.
yeah, and I
Which
tried
I don't
it
know
on.
that I don't know how much you'd really want that up your crack, but you know.
Because I feel like, if someone would really want to bite those off, they could bite something they didn't mean to. Like, you know?
If you want to hear this entire discussion at length with visual aids, then of course you must become a member at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, where you can watch the archive if you missed the live stream. We of course also played in our after hour stream. We somehow managed to finish Watam, even though we had to look up a walkthrough, and the fact that a walkthrough exists for that mindfuck of a game is crazy.
It doesn't surprise me because I worked at IGN and those poor bastards had to, we didn't use an IGN guide, but that is a job people have.
That was a game. That was a game.
Yep.
That's all we're going to say
exists.
about it. But again, if you guys want to check out those archives, you must join our memberships at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Speaking of which, we want to give a special thank you to our Patreon producers for the month of January: Chewy's Godson, Alex Rigopulos, Faris Attieh, Mohammed Mohammed, Marcus Brown, and Robert Adams. And Brittney, if you could assist me in reading the newcomers to our Patreon community.
Yes, why thank you. Still waiting. Gino Tro, Mostly Normal Gamers Podcast, Benny Toribio, Josh Mack, Kevin Bennett, Soyo, Mike, Derek Hoffman, Andy Peck, Jason Grimm, Paige Canal, Parker and Aiden, Michael Grieve, Mitchell Hall, Chicken Liquor, which is great and also kind of terrifying at the same time.
Chicken liquor?
Yeah.
But like liquor, the booze.
Like the booze. Oh, yeah. Let's clarify. Thank you,
Yeah.
Steimer. Not like licking chickens. That's not what we're about. Aaron, my Montes, James, Phil S, Alexandra Charavel. Thank you for joining our Patreon, friends.
Wonderful.
And we have some new podcast reviewers. Thank you so much to, oh God, Steimer.
Akil
4, Pure Blue Octopus. And then we
I
got
had to Google translate this because it was, I think, in Arabic.
Yeah.
Abu
Okay.
Hanan?
That's what it translates to. Is Abu Hanan.
We think.
Thank you for the nice review. All of you. We appreciate it. It helps us out a lot.
It
Come on.
does, indeed. I also want to take this moment not to talk about Patreon, but to talk about Discord. So some of you may not realize we actually have a pretty active Discord community at discord.gg/whatsgoodgames. We've got a bunch of different channels there for whatever your gaming interests are, or if you just want to talk about what you've been watching or what you've been reading. There's a lot of cool folks that are active on our Discord, and I want to give a special thank you to our mods who are doing a fantastic job. So we've got the Grizz91, we've got Gamer with the number 4, and we also have a third, Kitty Balls. So thank you to all of you for helping us keep our Discord in check, and thank you to everybody who participates and has some fun, meaningful conversations. Gamer did a contest to just do like a random game giveaway around the holidays. And he had messaged me and told me that there was a couple of winners, so we wanted to give you guys a special shout out and congrats. The 2 winners were Rufin and Magnus. So we just wanted to remind you guys that we do have a Discord community that's pretty active. So if you're ever like in an LFG situation, you don't have someone to play in the game that you're looking for, we've got a bunch of active people who are always willing to jump into a game with you. So check it out. Woo. Boom. All right, moving on. I think it's probably time to get into the news, right? We're done with announcements?
I think so.
All right. So this news week was a little on the light side, but that's not a bad thing. So let's go ahead and get into it. And this week, the news is brought to you by Bespoke Post. This winter, start a new routine to upgrade your everyday life with a monthly box of awesome from Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post sends folks only the best stuff every month. So whether you're looking to commemorate an occasion, or maybe you want a champagne saber, or maybe you're going to toast a perfectly aged winter cocktail, guess what? Box of Awesome has got you covered. From style and grooming goods to barware to cooking tools and outdoor gear, Box of Awesome has carefully built collections for every part of your life. So we were going to the website when we were checking out some of the new offerings, because the Box of Awesome that I use the most is the one I got for my desk, which has this beautiful leather kind of like a placemat thing where I put my laptop, and I have this really cool time turner. But they've now got Boxes of Awesome tailored specifically for women, which is super cool. And we found this one. What's the name of this box?
Unplug.
Yeah.
Unplugged.
So Steimer saw this and she was like, "Oh my god!"
I mean, because it looks like a nice bath kit with an ion diffuser as well. Get the diffuser, some lavender oil. It allows like a relax. Yes, I like these things. Lavender bath bomb, some cashmere blend socks. My feet are always cold. So like this one seems like it is a box right up my alley. And they have a cute little tag here, JOMO, which is the joy of missing out.
So the antithesis of FOMO.
Yes.
Instead of having a fear of missing out, you're actually very excited that you're missing out. You want to be alone and be at home.
I have that a lot. It's great.
JOMO's great. It's better than FOMO, I would say.
Yes.
And right here they have, in the midst of a culture that ignores exhaustion and tells us we can never miss out on anything, JOMO is about reveling in the fact that you're taking a break from it all. Amen.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good vibe for 2020. Maybe take a step back from it all and give yourself a little treat with your own Box of Awesome. If you guys want to get started, all you have to do is to take the quiz at boxofawesome.com. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome just for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories for both men and women, and it's free to sign up. So you could also just skip a month or cancel anytime. So if you're like, hey, I liked my first couple boxes, but you know what? I need to like save my funds this month. You can skip. Or if you're like, hey, I'm good. I got my couple of boxes of awesome and now I'm out. You can do that too. Each box only costs $45, but it has over $70 worth of gear inside. So if you guys want to get started and get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com, all you have to do is enter the code What's Good at checkout. That's boxofawesome, just like it sounds, .com. And you got to use that code What's Good for 20% off your first box. Embrace the JOMO in 2020.
Yeah.
Brittney, the first story that you have listed here says, "Holy delays, Batman."
Yeah. So last week we talked about Final Fantasy VII and Marvel's Avengers being delayed. And then the day after, Cyberpunk was delayed. Mm-hmm. And then shortly thereafter, Iron Man. VR. And now Dying Light 2 is indefinitely delayed. Indefinitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, that's a very dramatic word. But yes, technically, yes. They have not announced, like, when they're going to release. So we can start with Iron Man VR. So this was delayed to May 15th. Originally supposed to release February 28th. And this delay was revealed via a tweet from Camouflage. And that is, I can't.
That's the name of the developer.
Yeah, I was going to try to zoom in. I can't. Oh. Okay, so the tweet was delivered on January 17th at 6 o'clock in the morning. Oh,
Bright
wow,
and
it's like it
early.
was timed. Okay. I just want to kick the desk.
It's a program tweet.
In order to deliver on our vision and meet the high expectations of our amazing community, we've made the difficult decision to move Marvel's Iron Man VR to a May 15th, 2020 release. We truly appreciate your patience and understanding. You'll be hearing from us again soon.
See, I flipped the to and
Yeah.
the from in that sentence, and that's why I was confused for a minute. I was like, what? Those dates don't make any sense.
Right.
But yeah, the big...
So there was that. And then we got, do you want to break these down one by one, ladies? Or should we
Yeah,
just do them all?
yeah, sure. So listen, like, I mean, the Iron Man delay, I think, is like the most, or the like least impactful to most people, because I
Yeah.
think that obviously there was a contingent of PSVR fan boys and girls that were very excited for this game to come out, but I don't think anyone's like sweating the fact that they're like, oh, we're pushing it back.
At least
It's
you're
like,
getting something
okay.
Marvel's in May now, right?
Yeah.
Marvel. Yeah, and I mean, the previews from this game have been really positive. I heard that they really nailed the flying aspect of it, which is supposed to be really cool, but again, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
But then we got Cyberpunk 2077 delayed to September 17th, originally supposed to release April 16th. And this is a very, very yellow document
it
here.
is.
Does anyone else want to read this?
Yeah, I got you.
Cyberpunk.
It says, so we have important news regarding Cyberpunk's 2077 release date. Cyberpunk 2077 won't make the April release window, and we're moving the launch date to September 17th, 2020. We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit, but due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish playtesting, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the release date. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thank you for your ongoing support.
So the latest on this is the rumor is that Cyberpunk 2077, and you're going to laugh at this, was delayed because it runs badly on PS4 and Xbox One.
I mean,
I mean, of course, right? So Cory Barlog,
oh, I'm glad you brought. Do you have his thread?
I have his thread up,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
So early today, not early today. I guess this was actually, yeah, because the rumor broke today. So this is Wednesday. He tweeted this out. He said, every game runs badly until you optimize for the hardware and the final push before gold. And he put a little heart emoji because he's Cory Barlog. And then he followed up later. He said, so I feel like I need to expand upon this because many may not have the most accurate picture of the game making process. In truth, we often probably do not want to share this because for some reason, we believe people will jump to apocalyptic conclusions and get angry. And he followed up, I can't say I speak for the industry, so fellow devs chime in to disagree or correct if you feel your experience is different, but I feel this to be true for most games. All caps. Games are very ugly for a long time until they are not. Uncaps. Traditionally, that is right near the end. This is due to the absolutely fucking bananas level of complexity and moving pieces required to make really any game today. We are more often than not going on passion and belief that the vision of this buggy plus duct tape together thing is going to come together in the end. To me, there is nothing shameful or nefarious about the game not running well in development. We all obviously want to release the smoothest, most bug-free experience humanly possible. Sometimes we mostly succeed, sometimes we don't. But it is never because we did not try. Heart emoji.
Yes. I mean, I actually think, in a loose way, it is sort of like if you've ever watched people build a house and
Yeah.
you're always like, how on earth will this look like anything other than absolute horseshit? And then it does. It's just like, oh my God, it all came together. I feel like that's kind of what he's trying to say is it will run poorly. It will probably be a little janky for a long time until you start optimizing for the platform that it's trying to run on, but they don't usually do that until the end because they're trying to content fill it first. And it doesn't make any sense to optimize when you haven't put all of the content in it yet. So this makes total sense to me. Anyways, but
No, I think it's great. I think it's important that people like Cory speak out, who everyone kind of admires, right, for the masterpiece that he helped create with God of War.
Right.
To normalize this and normalize it in the sense that this is you're making a video game. It's not easy, right? And Steimer, I think, has talked about this a lot on the show. Like, it's a lot of moving parts. A lot of things can go wrong at the last minute. And so it's okay if things get delayed. Trying to make a story out of it because, all of a sudden it doesn't run well on Xbox One or PS4. It's kind
clickbait.
It's clickbait, yeah.
It was quite frankly, I thought that was a shitty article, and I'm disappointed that I got a lot of pickup because anybody who's worth their salt that has been covering video games for more than 60 seconds knows that all games are a hot mess until they go through cert. And then even now in today's ecosystem, most games require a day one patch because devs want to keep polishing and fixing as the game goes into ship. And it's frustrating to me and almost like eye roll worthy that somebody would make an article purely for clicks. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that, oh, the game looked bad on console. It's like, of course it did. It's not done yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you think of a game in January that's going to ship in April, that's still like 3 months of polish, maybe even 2.5 months of polish if you're giving them a very generous like certification window. That's a lot of time for the devs to make fixes and changes. So, like, CD Projekt Red clearly knows that their fan base is going to be there whenever this game is going to ship. Yeah. And it's a bummer that it's going to come all the way into September. But I think like the silver lining there is that it kind of gets out of this crowded window that was like spring 2020.
Yeah. Well, now everything's getting pushed back, so it's not going to be as...
Yeah. Well, thankfully, The Last of Us Part 2's push was only by, what 4 to 5 weeks. So now...
Yeah, they've been kind of like slowly itching
towards the end.
Like a cat, like pushing something off a desk.
Oh, with their little...
Yeah. Little taps.
And then finally, we got Dying Light 2 delayed indefinitely from spring. I got it wrong. 2002.
Actually,
oh boy, 2020.
Yeah, so
this
this
word indefinitely?
No, they did not. No.
I'm trying to read through
like
this quickly.
It's kind of the dramatic word. Okay, so Dying Light 2 tweeted this out. To our dedicated community, it was a busy year for us as we continued working on our biggest project to date. We know you are awaiting the game eagerly, and we want to deliver exactly what we promised. We were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release with Dying Light 2, but unfortunately, we need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more details to share in the coming months, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have more information. We apologize for this unwelcome news. Our priority is to deliver an experience that lives up to our own high standards and to the expectations of you, our fans. Please stay tuned, and thank you to our fans around the world for your continued support, patience, and understanding.
I mean, I think it's more responsible to like not, if you don't know, don't
say something.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think it's troubling though that they don't have a target because that potentially means they're making a bigger change than they anticipated, which could add substantial amounts of development time onto the timeline of a game that already I think is kind of up in the air whether it's going to be a commercial success or not. I mean, I was incredibly impressed by what we saw at E3 this year, so much so that it was one of my top games of E3 2019 in the sense that I was never really impressed by the original Dying Light. Mm-hmm. And I think what they're doing is incredibly ambitious. So I'm not surprised that they need more time, but I do think it's troubling that they haven't given themselves a timeline, or if they have, they're not communicating that with their audience. And so on one hand, I'm with you, Steimer, that like, take your time, don't give a date unless you're confident. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh, it kind of lets me not have as much confidence in the title as I had before of like, what's going on the inside? Does this mean they're doing a fundamental change with some core systems? Or does this just mean that they ran into like maybe some snags and they want to, instead of focusing on this generation release, they want to pivot and go, let's focus on next gen release and then make a port for current gen? That could potentially be what we're looking at.
And that's what a lot of people are thinking too, is kind of the reason for a lot of these delays. Who knows? So this game was actually announced at E3 2018 during the Xbox press conference, and I was sitting next to you when it was revealed, and I was like, oh my God, we knew it was coming. It came. And I thought it was interesting. That's what she said. Is they were initially targeting a 2019 release. Right. And there was like no way. I mean, I had a feeling there was no way. Now they're saying spring 2020. And nope, now it's not. Now I don't know when it's coming. And I think it's just worth noting that Square Enix is helping Dying Light 2 in North America with publishing. So it's another wah-wah.
I do feel like, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure this is a smaller dev than
Techland.
Yeah, they're relatively small, right?
I don't know.
I mean, not like small.
No, they're not
like,
small, but yeah. They make good shit.
I think they're like medium sized. Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, I'm not super worried about it, and I'm not worried about the fact that they don't have a date, because I just think that again, it could just mean too many things, and like speculating. You could just
so they have about
days, because it could be like a number of things.
Yeah,
and not all of them are bad. So she's like, all right, well, I guess we will wait to hear more from you whenever you have the time to announce it.
So according to Wikipedia, they have about 300 employees.
Oh wow, that's actually pretty big.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I have heard other people in the industry commenting on this, saying, oh, all of these delays are happening because these people want to capitalize on next gen. I'm like, no, that's false. These devs have had the runway to know that next gen is happening when it's happening. To say that these delays are happening specifically so they can capitalize on the launch of the new consoles is just, in my mind, like ignorant.
And if
for
you
lack
can
of
launch,
a better word, I just like they're delaying because they're having trouble with development, or they're having a philosophical difference of where they want to go creatively, not because they're like, hey, actually, if we delay by like 4 months, then we can capitalize on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Like, no, that's not the way that works at all. They can't just fundamentally change all of the game's infrastructure to make it optimized for the new console. And if they're going to do that, it's going to take way more than just a couple months of delay. And
if
game dev is hard.
And if you can release your game in spring right now, you're sitting pretty. You ain't got a lot of competition that you thought you were getting.
Yeah, man. So Final Fantasy VII Remake can keep on track and not delay anymore.
The biggest dog in town.
They'll be fine.
Oh, yeah.
But I do feel bad for the Crystal Dynamics team who pushed Avengers from May into September, and now they're going head-to-head against Cyberpunk.
Oh, whoops. They might push it again. Or one of them might push again. Who knows? It's kind of one of those things where I really honestly don't pay too close attention to release dates at this point until it's like almost there.
Yeah, I kind of wish that Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red would have just said fall 2020 instead of naming a very specific date, to be like, hey, give yourself a little bit of breathing room to like have some time if you need a couple of extra weeks or whatever to delay again without having to be committed to a date in September. Because thankfully, CD Projekt Red doesn't have the really rigorous corporate overlords and the fiscal year commitments that people underneath like EA or Square Enix or Activision usually are, kind of slaves to. I think that that's what's great about what CD Projekt Red is doing, is that they're kind of like, hey, we're going to develop games on our own terms. And so I was a little disappointed that they're like, oh, we're going to set a date. And it's like, well, if you need time, take your time.
Yeah.
So unless you think I'm wrong, do they have corporate overlords that I'm not aware of?
I believe they are publicly traded in Poland.
Oh. Wow.
But but they also, I can't remember if that's, they definitely have something. I don't remember what it is. It's not the same as, like an EA or
like an
anything.
EA, yeah. I didn't realize that Poland had a very thriving stock market. But then again, I don't know much about Poland. Except that apparently the food there was very
trying
delicious.
to remember. I'm like, there was something, but I don't remember if that was that they're just there or what.
All right, so delays are fine is I think the takeaway here. Take your time, make a game, make it good, don't make it broken. We all know what happens when you release a big game and it's broken. So don't do that. All right, moving on. The next thing we have here is animated Mortal Kombat movie sets their cast with Joel McHale and Jennifer Carpenter. So this is from HollywoodReporter.com. A new group of combatants are assembling, and Warner Brothers Animation is plotting an animated movie based on the fighting game Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge. Community alum Joel McHale will be voicing Johnny Cage. That is very fitting. While Dexter's Jennifer Carpenter will voice star Sonya Blade in Scorpion's Revenge, which will debut in the first half of this year. Ooh, that seems so soon.
That is soon.
Scorpion's Revenge is directed by Ethan Spalding of Batman Assault on Arkham and Justice League Throne of Atlantis fame, from a script by Jeremy Adams from Supernatural and Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. Of course, it's based on the video game by Ed Boon and John Tobias. The voice cast also includes Jordan Rodriguez as Liu Kang, Patrick Seitz as Scorpion, and Hanzo Hasashi. And Steve Bloom is Sub-Zero, Art Butler as Shang Tsung, Darren DePaul as Quan Chi, Robin Atkin-Downs as Kano, David B. Mitchell as Raiden, Ike Amadi as Jax Briggs, and who else?
I'm glad you're reading the story because I feel like if I read it, it would have been like you reading Pokemon news.
Yes.
Kevin Michael Richardson as Goro, Gray Griffin as Katana, and Satoshi. I don't even know who Satoshi Hasashi is. Who is that character?
Apparently related to Hanzo.
Satoshi? And then Fred Tatasciore as Demon Torturer. Wait, Fred Tatasciore is amazing. What the fuck is Demon Torturer?
Torture of demons.
A character.
Okay. Well, anyway, Fred, you're great. Rick Morales. Wait, Rick Morales is a co-producer? Okay, that's cool. The executive producer is Sam Register. NetherRealm's Ed Boon, of course, is the creative consultant. And we've got a logo.
And that's
Spoilers.
It's got a lot of fire on it.
It's just the Mortal Kombat logo.
With some fire?
With fire.
Are you so excited right now that your panties are twisted in a tight bundle?
No.
All right.
I would be more excited if this was details about a Mortal Kombat live action film, which supposedly was in development. I honestly, like, to me, don't care about animation. If this was in the style of gameplay, if this was in engine animation, different story.
Okay.
I'd be in. If they were like, we made an animated series in engine, I would be like, fuck yeah, let's go. Because
That's crazy because I'm the exact opposite.
Really?
Yeah, I'm stoked about this next story.
Okay, well, let's just
no,
put.
I'm not going there yet.
We'll put a pin in it, and then you can read the next story. But like, here's my thing: Mortal Kombat is known for its gruesome animation, and to me, if you're gonna dumb that down by making it look like a cartoon, then I'm not in. It's not for me, and that's okay. Doesn't mean it's gonna be bad.
There's some
like
pretty
the original
gnarly
stuff, like the original Mortal Kombat, like was quote unquote gruesome, but also those pixels were not.
Well, that's because it was old.
I know,
though.
but I'm saying like that's the same. Like that's what I think of when I think of animation. I'm like, it'll probably be around that. It'll be like original Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I'm more excited for the live action, like I mentioned. So I did find that New Line is currently making the live action, which is due for 2021.
So is that going to be a movie or a series?
Movie, live action movie.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. If you're excited, awesome. Moving on. Steimer, you got this next one.
Yeah, something I like. Two things I like. Joining forces. Witcher anime movie Nightmare of the Wolf announced by Netflix. Netflix has announced that a new anime film called The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf, is in the works. The team behind this new movie includes Netflix's The Witcher's producers Lauren Hisrich and Bo DeMaio, maybe, and Studio Mir, the renowned Korean animation studio behind The Legend of Korra and Voltron Legendary Defender. The logline for The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf is, quote, "The world of The Witcher expands in this anime film that explores a new threat facing the continent." I do love that The Witcher's world is just called the continent. It cracks me up. No cast details were given, but it's pretty safe to assume that Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf himself, will most likely be present to handle whatever this nightmare may end up being. Who knows? He could be the one having the nightmare, or maybe he is the nightmare. Dorks. This news follows Netflix's other announcement that The Witcher is tracking to be its most viewed first season ever, with 76 million member households streaming the new series through its first 4 weeks of release. Thank you for scrolling up for me. There is no release timing for The Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf, and it is yet unclear if it will arrive before or after the return of Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri in the season 2 of Netflix's The Witcher in 2021. My question, though, is Henry Cavill voicing Geralt in this anime, or are they bringing in new voice actors?
Or are they bringing in the original voice actor?
Doug?
Yeah, I thought I saw a story about him doing something.
Well, that would be cool.
I'm sure he's doing something. He's a talented voice actor.
No, I mean,
I
mean, with The
She was
Witcher.
being Steimer.
I'm just being sassy.
She's
Sassy
being
pants.
sassy squirrel. So Steimer, you're very excited about this.
Yeah.
You're so excited that you're backflipping. You got your confetti out. You got your pom-poms out.
I like The Witcher. I don't know why I wouldn't like this.
So part of me wonders though. It's called the anime, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder. Well, the IGN article is anime. I wonder if it actually is an anime, or if it's more of just like a general animation, like a cartoon.
If it's just animation,
right? I feel like people
versus
throw that
like,
term around.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Right.
I would actually really love it if they had Geralt with like traditional anime
That's what
faces.
I was thinking, right?
It would be adorable.
I know,
Oh my God.
but it's so unfitting. I feel like of The Witcher, which is very.
But
Western.
I actually kind of would be into it.
I would be totally into it. I want it.
Break the world. Just break it.
Just break everything.
Break that immersion. Make Geralt into put a
Give him
teardrop
little
over
happy
his head.
eyeballs. Make him
Give the
sweat.
happy. Oh my God, he could see a girl and like drool or
Give him-
have the nosebleed.
Oh, have the nosebleed.
The
Yay!
nosebleed. Andrea's very confused. There's a lot of anime tropes. One of
About
them
a
is if
nosebleed?
you're attracted to someone very much, you just get a severe
You get a really bad
nosebleed.
nosebleed. I tweeted to Jackie
That's
Collins
so
about
weird.
this. She posted a photo of herself, and my reply was a gif of someone with an insane
I
nosebleed.
mean, that's what happened to me on the plane back from Europe. I was just so attracted to someone that my nose just burst into
See,
blood.
that's what happens when you look at my pictures on airplanes, Steimer.
That's not what happened.
I'm
but-
so
Damn.
confused.
I just got
Why?
shut
I
down
wish-
so hard. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I still love you. I know you love me. Yeah, that would be great. Little like vein popping out on his head.
Yes.
Oh,
God,
man.
there's so many. I love anime so much.
So it's great. Okay, what's up, baby girl?
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna read the next story.
Yeah, you go for it.
okay.
Oh well.
We're just
okay
over here
then.
geeking out about anime.
No, that's fine. You know what? Live your best life. Love the things you love.
Good advice for a lot of things in life.
But hopefully it doesn't cause you like hemorrhages with your noses.
Hopefully not.
Next story.
It's not good for you.
Ninja Theory announces Project Mara. So this write-up comes from Xbox themselves, from the Newswire. Today, we are announcing Project Mara, our new in-development experimental title that explores new ways of storytelling, and we're excited to share the first details with you. Project Mara will be a real-world and grounded representation of mental terror. Based on real lived experience accounts and in-depth research, our aim is to recreate the horrors of the mind as accurately and realistically as possible. Project Mara will be an experimental title and showcase what could become a new storytelling medium. Since joining Xbox Game Studios in 2018, we've been hard at work on our upcoming multiplayer brawler Bleeding Edge, our new recently announced innovative R&D project, the Insight Project, and of course, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. These projects will continue to drive development goals for the next few years and will help shape Ninja Theory's vision for our future. You can follow the development journey of all of our new projects, including Senua's Saga, the Insight Project, and Project Mara on their various social media profiles.
Okay, this is me like inserting the video of the cat going no 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 no. Like, do not want. I think Senua is scary enough. I don't need some more bullshit that's gonna fuck with my head. It's already not a fun bag up here. I think some really crazy shit all the time. I don't need your help.
Well, you know what's interesting? You say that. You don't need their help. Well, I think they actually are trying to help, right? That's the whole point of these initiatives, the Insight Project and watching something on Project Mara. They want to help people overcome their mental illnesses through video games and hoping that they can teach people coping mechanisms and whatnot through the game that they can take into their everyday life. And watching Project Mara. So if you go to this Xbox.com actual press release, there's like a 6-minute video on there where they kind of go over everything they're talking about here. Right. And the trailer for this, it's very nerve-wracking. I was listening to it earlier. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, no, I was listening to Brittney listen to it because I was doing some emails, and I was like, what are you watching?
Oh, it's porn. No, because it's
Torture porn.
Very heavy breathing. It's, you know, breathing. And then she says something. I don't know if it's real anymore or something. And then you see this, it's kind of like a Blair Witchy angle where it's kind of facing like up the nose a little bit. And she's obviously panicking.
That good nosebleed action.
Nose was not bleeding.
I know.
And then for a split second, she kind of turns her head, and then I had to rewind it and pause it. And then there's like a version of her that's all veiny and kind of zombie looking like.
Huh.
And
so right up your alley.
Right up my alley. Yeah, it looks great. But no, it's really fascinating.
This to me doesn't, I mean, granted, I haven't watched this video, so
Right.
maybe you obviously know more than I do. But just the way they wrote it doesn't seem like it's trying to help anyone do anything except be scared. And I don't need help with that.
Yeah, so we don't know a lot about Project Mara, but the other stuff we know more about. But yeah,
thanks.
I'm pretty scared of most things in life.
You don't need those things
I'm good.
in life. Oh man, so I started Senua's Hellblade during my last
Senua Sacrifice?
Yeah. On my very relaxing last vacation. in
I
Turks
saw
and
you
Caicos.
try, and I was like, what the fuck is she doing?
Well,
You're like, this is a mistake.
Well, I was looking for something like, relax. I'm gonna play something, and
That is not a relaxed game.
It looks good on the Switch. It does look good, and it plays fine. Obviously, after I played it, I was very stressed out. Like, this is not what I need on this vacation. And I do want to pick it up and play it again on Xbox One. I think it's on Game Pass, actually.
Oh,
of course
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Of course. But no, I'm really interested in what Ninja Theory is doing. I think we were talking about this a little earlier. Bleeding Edge seems a little out of their like realm of whatever, but I think it's cool that they are trying it. We always say, try new things.
Hey, I mean, it worked for Horizon Zero Dawn.
See, there you go.
Exactly.
But no, it was a very intense game. I want to pick it back up, but maybe.
I do not think Project Mara will be for. I think Senua is as fucked up as I can get.
That was messed up. I've never had a game make me feel that way before.
Did you try it with headphones yet?
Oh, yeah, I wore it with
Okay,
I wore it with headphones. I played it with headphones.
Yeah, because that's you're like,
Nope, too
like-
intense.
but also it's helpful.
Yeah.
Because like in battle, if you listen to them, then they tell you where things are. Echolocation. You're like a bat.
You have to be in the right mental state to play that game. I think is what
You have to be very
trying to
mentally
communicate
braced
here.
before you go in, and you need to know what you're getting into.
So if you're looking for a very mentally disturbing experience, just watch the trailer.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xbox.com, everybody. And I think that's going to do it for the news this week, which is kind of amazing that we have a short news week because most of the time the news dominates the show.
Yeah.
Which is exciting because I have a game that I've been itching to talk about when we come back.
You should get that checked out.
Yeah, maybe I'll just like run to the doctor between segments.
Some cream,
really
some
quick.
ointment.
Get some cream for that itch. We'll be right back, everybody. What's good, everybody? Welcome back. It's segment 2 of the What's Good Games podcast. Of course, this is where we talk about what we've been playing or any special events that we've gone to. And I am super excited to talk about the game that I went to go see at a preview event last week. Before I get to that, though, I want to let you know that this segment is brought to you by Riot Games. Yes, the one and only. You might be going, wait, that Riot Games? The one that's been announcing all of these different video games that they're making all over the place for the last couple of months? That's right, but let's be honest. We all know Riot Games for their big dog, League of Legends. It was interesting because I was just talking with Steimer about this when we shot our Games of the Decade episode. We don't want to spoil that because that episode's coming in a couple of weeks. But I was saying I want to get back into League, but that's not why we're here, to talk about my lack of League skills. We're here to talk about the LCS because everything is just getting started. Of course, we do want to make a quick disclaimer. We've said it before. We'll say it again when Christine Steimer does work for Riot Games. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be hyped for what's happening with LCS. So new year, new you, right? Maybe you're even asking yourself, what the heck is the LCS? So it's North America's official League of Legends professional league. LCS, in fact, stands for League Championship Series, if you didn't know. And of course, the 2020 season kicks off Saturday, January 25th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on watch.lolesports.com. And of course, there's never been a better time to become an LCS fan. So if you guys haven't been watching the LCS, or maybe you used to watch when you were playing League a couple years back and you've kind of fallen off the wagon, now is a great time to get back in. If you are kind of confused a little bit about what's happening, because Brittney was like, I don't really play MOBAs. Would I like this? They've really overhauled some of the casters and the color commentators that they have on the Riot streams so that even if you aren't really familiar with the champions and some of the play patterns, you can still follow the games. Like, for example, they have this caster whose name is Kobe, who's really good at kind of breaking down what the champions are and some of the play strategies. So if you've been out of the game for a while and you're like, I don't even know who the heck these champions are, there's definitely a caster I think that you guys will be able to kind of like identify with. Or maybe you just are there for the hype. You just want to clap your boomsticks together, right? You're like, I just am here for the shouts. Did they take down the Baron? Is that still a thing they do? Then maybe Captain Flowers is your man because he's all about the hype machine. So they have the new season starting, and it's going to be exciting because the latest game update, Rise of the Elements, is introducing permanent map and buff changes for players to deal with. So Britt, my first thought was, is anyone going to take on the new champion set? No one does that. No one plays the new championships in professional league because they usually ban the new championships from drafting. Let's just be clear. But continuing on, we want to just remind you guys that there's always a team for anyone to root for. Maybe you want to see a classic team win like TSM, rise again. Or perhaps you want to join Team Liquid to see if they can secure yet another championship title. Or maybe you want to lean into your darker desires with one of the newest team, Evil Geniuses. If you guys are ready for some league action, you're in luck because there's even more this season to enjoy with Monday Night League joining the schedule. I love that they're kind of modeling this after what's happening in professional sports, saying, you know what, it's not just about what happens on the weekends. We want to engage people during the week as well. So if you guys have been looking for even more league in your life, good news, Monday Night League is happening. If you guys want to catch the games, there's lots of ways to do it. You can catch the games on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, Sundays at noon Pacific, and Monday Night League at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Did you guys get out your notepad? Listen again. Saturdays, 2 p.m. Pacific, Sundays, noon Pacific, and Monday Night League at 5:30 p.m. Pacific on watch.lolesports.com. Twitch or YouTube. That's watch.lolesports.com, twitch.tv/LCS, or youtube.com/LOLesports for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night action. Thanks so much, LCS. And listen, if you didn't think you had enough League in your life, just wait. There's going to be more. Let's talk about Doom Eternal. So I was tweeting about this, and I really had to kind of hold back because it's rare that we get to go to a preview event as people who've been covering this business for so many years, and we walk away going, that was fucking amazing. There's a lot of games that we walk away going, that was cool. I can't wait to see more. I enjoyed that. I'll play that when it comes out. But I think it's few and far between when we walk away from an event going, holy shit, that blew my mind. Can you remember the last game that either of you played that you walked away from a preview event going, oh my God, that blew my mind?
Resident Evil 2.
Okay, that's
course.
fair.
Of course.
Very good.
I mean, that I played? No.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying, though, is like there's like so few of them.
Yeah.
One of those games for me, Doom Eternal. And it was surprised because I knew I was going to enjoy my time because I liked Doom 2016, but it was so intense for me and I got very overwhelmed that I never ended up actually finishing that game and like completing the campaign.
I remember you saying this. Yeah, it was a little too much for you.
I had to play it in very short sessions.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is just so overwhelming. And so when they told me that I was invited, and thank you again to Bethesda for having me down to the Doom Eternal event with id Software, that it was going to be 3 hours of hands-on time with Doom, I was like, wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot of Doom.
But what was great is that they dropped us in at the very beginning of the game, so we got to do the onboarding.
You actually got to learn how to play
Exactly.
the game. Yeah, because when I played with you back at Judges Week last year, they think they just kind of dumped us.
Yes, in the middle of the game.
In the middle of the game, they were like, have fun. We were like, but how do we do anything?
Yeah, and it was because so Marty was there and he was like, oh, we want you guys to play on medium difficulty. And I started at medium difficulty and I instantly dropped it down to easy because it was just overwhelming.
Without
I
the
was just dying over and over
I managed
again.
to make it through on whatever normal was, but it was like, at first I was like, holy crap, I just died multiple times and then had to super focus my brain, and once I like hyper engaged, I was able to do it, but I was like, good Lord, it's taking some mental capacity.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in that game. Even if you looked at it visually, you would think this is just a first person shooter.
Absolutely.
And until you play it, you don't know how much it really
It's like a
is
metal
going on
concert
here.
in your head.
Yes,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, so Doom 2016 was renowned for not only gameplay and fluidity and polish, but of course this amazing atmosphere that they built, complete with this incredible soundtrack. All of that is back for Doom Eternal, but it's way better, more polished, and it's bigger. I mean, we're talking exponentially bigger, and the mechanics are more layered, and I can't wait for everybody to get their hands on this. So let me pull up my notes. And then I also have I have a gameplay clip that I'm going to show. So if you guys are listening to the show, please take some time to come to youtube.com/whatsgoodgames and see some of the gameplay that I'm showing. This is actually me playing the game. And normally I don't record myself doing shooters when I'm at a preview event because I'm like, I would rather use the gameplay that a dev has recorded or captured because you're going to be way better at the game than I'm ever going to be sitting down. But I had the opportunity to record myself, so I wanted to just show you guys. So let me cue up this gameplay while I'm talking here. So you guys can take a look, and so I can kind of speak to what's happening here. So we had the opportunity to speak to Hugo Martin, who is from the id team, who is the creative director on Doom Eternal, after our play session. And so he answered a bunch of questions, and I have some really cool quotes here. So one of the things that I really loved about my time here is that I started out on the medium difficulty, which is called Hurt Me Plenty.
Oh, I like it.
And I never...
No, please don't.
I know, and I never felt compelled to drop the difficulty down. I felt like I had a good challenge, but I never felt overwhelmed because, you know me, I'm always
Same
a fan
OG.
of baby ass baby mode.
Of course.
And in Doom Eternal, it's called I'm Too Young to Die.
I think they used, like, those are definitely stuff I remember from OG Wolfenstein too.
Well, I feel like
Similar.
some of the Wolfenstein ones were a little bit more snarky when you got to the lighter difficulties, almost making fun of you. And
It's
so I
like-
like...
Or so we
Don't
got
hurt me,
baby ass
daddy.
baby mode.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was like the baby.
Yeah.
And you actually
Exactly.
had a bonnet on.
So they have a ton of difficulty levels. They have ultra violence, nightmare, ultra nightmare, and extra life mode. So the ultra nightmare mode is permadeath. So it's like when you're going through the campaign, if you die, you're done.
No.
You have to start all the way over.
I mean, I know some people are very into that. Not
Oh,
one of
God,
those
I can't
people.
imagine.
Yeah, so let me just kind of describe what's happening on screen here. So obviously I'm jumping around quite a bit. As
You have to
know.
keep moving.
Yeah, Doom is like it's not a cover shooter.
No.
There's no cover. You have to just move constantly because you have to always be picking up these power-ups. And what I've loved what they've done is that they've really layered in strategy with doing so. So when you do a glory kill, you're going to get health. When you do a flame belch, you're going to get shield regeneration. And so you really have to strategically go, when do I want to use which kind of attack on which enemy, knowing where you're at. As you can see on screen, I have low ammo and low health for a lot of the time, and I just keep running. It was so funny because there was this moment when I was in a boss fight. Well, not quite a boss fight, but like a mini boss fight, I would say. And Hugo was kind of standing over his shoulder, making me nervous. And he was like, dude, I didn't think you were going to make it out of there because I was running around with low health with like 5 health left forever. And it's like 100 is like the health meter. But I managed to keep moving, and I found a random NPC, not an NPC, like a random like enemy.
Like a lower level
Yeah,
enemy,
exactly,
yeah.
that I could melee.
And you're like, haha.
I got your health. Okay, so now during all this, do you have some badass rock music playing in your?
Yes,
Okay.
of course. So there's a big diversity of enemies here. There are some that are ranged, there's some that are melee, and what I really like is that they really force you to use the tools and the mechanics to get good at the game. So when we were interviewing with Hugo, one of the things he said was, learning how to succeed is not the engaging part, it's mastering what you need to do. He also said that there is a right way to play Doom, but that will take the time to level up your skill set, that it's a combat puzzle to solve, which I thought was really interesting because there's not many games that force you to learn a variety of different types of combat in order to be proficient. A lot of games allow you to kind of pick your play style and then kind of settle in and don't really force you to try out the different mechanics that are built into the game. And that has its pros and minuses, right? Like sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. What I love about this is that they are saying to you, hey, we're going to push you, and it might be a little uncomfortable, but we're also going to do it in a way that's going to feel rewarding. And then you're going to feel like a badass once you've mastered.
Oh, no,
I'm
you're
in the
on
lava.
fire.
I'm in the lava.
Don't fall in
is
the
on
lava.
fire. Right?
But yeah, no, I totally agree. And that was one of the things that I did enjoy. I mean, found frustrating at first because, again, we were dropped into the middle of the game. But what made it so engaging is the fact that you are you're kind of just like always keeping track of what you need next. Like, okay, well, my ammo's a little low. Okay, I'll do the other type of kill so that I can get that. But, you know, you're just constantly like trying to refill these meters and using all the different moves in your arsenal so that you can refill them. Which sounds like eventually it would get easy, but it's not because there's everything shooting at you and you're just like, it's hyper stress. And like Andrea, if you are watching the gameplay right now, you're just running.
You're just
like constantly running.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's a method to the madness here. In like, I'm trying to figure, to me, yeah, it looks like you're just running around in circles shooting the first thing that pops up in front of you. And maybe that is your strategy.
Oh, I mean, I can't speak to you, Andrea, but when I was playing, there was no strategy to the running. The running was just
You just
running.
run
to
anywhere
not
you
die.
can run.
And then it was like, the strategy is, what kind of kill do I need to do in order to refill whatever meter is low?
Exactly. And it's also remembering like here where like the health pots are on the map, or like we're remembering where like where an ammo pack is that you didn't pick up the first time. And what I really like what they've done with the level design in Doom Eternal as a kind of evolution of the level design in Doom 2016 is that the arenas feel a lot more varied. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that Hugo mentioned was that their fans said that Doom 2016 felt incredibly repetitive, that there was just a lot of the same enemies, a lot of the level design felt samey, and that while it was really good and the polish was there, it just felt like there wasn't enough diversity across the levels. That's not the case with what I've played so far in Doom Eternal. It really felt like every different section of the game that I played had a unique identity while still remaining within the same aesthetic. of hell and the demon landscape that you're in, but it still felt like it was varied enough that it felt interesting and different. And that's what I really like about what it has done so far with Doom Eternal. One of the things that I thought was cool when we were talking with Hugo about the gameplay was that he said, we're cool with making you feel overwhelmed in the beginning because we think that, sorry, let me pull up my quote here. We're cool with making you feel overwhelmed in the gaming because we think that is part of the experience. He said, the bet that we are making is the style of play where we push you to leave the game feeling more fun and more, will lead to the game feeling more fun and more engaging. And so I think what he's really trying to say there is they are intentionally making you feel a little stressed and a little panicked to force you to use the mechanics that you've learned, and that by mastering those mechanics, you'll feel more powerful as you go throughout the game. And so there, of course, there's a progression system on screen. I'm showing now a little bit of the challenge system that's built into the game. So there's a variety of different challenges and things like that. And of course, there's a variety of weapons that you can get and power-ups and things like that you can do for the Doom guy or the Slayer. And
I like the Doom guy.
Doom guy. And the way that he kind of described it is they start you with like your white belt, if you want to think of it in karate terms, right? Or martial arts. And that by the time you get to the third act of Doom Eternal, he said you'll get close to having your black belt, and that's when the fun truly begins. He said, our goal is not to make a hard game. What we want to make is a game that is giving you something to master. And we want to create something with a little bit of depth. And I think that that's really interesting because a lot of games strive for that, but very few games actually accomplish that. Mm-hmm. And I was very wary after Steimer and I played Doom Eternal for the first time at Judges Week last year before E3 because I thought it was too overwhelming. I was like,
that's the problem.
Yeah, I felt pressured into playing it on easy because I was dying constantly, and nobody likes to die over and over again in a game. It just feels, you know, like
discouraging.
It just feels bad.
I remember that in the first Doom. Doom 2016.
It does not give me the happy feelings.
Yeah. In the beginning of that game, I was so overwhelmed because I'm not great at shooters. I've talked about that a lot. And this game, you were surrounded by demons, and it's intense. And I was just like flopping around like a magic carpet. It was not great. But I remember by the end of it, I was like, oh yeah, look at me go. I'm such a badass. Ooh, yeah, I got the music going. I'm slicing you in half. I'm punching you in the face, biting in the ass. Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
in the face, bite me in the ass. Yeah, and I really liked that about the first Doom game. And I think, that is what a lot of games strive for. And I think the game that most recently that accomplished that was Horizon Zero Dawn for me. Yeah. Because we were talking about the combat. Oop, that's another episode. But yeah, I remember that about Doom. When I feel like a badass playing a shooter, you've done something right.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And what I think what's great about what it is doing with Doom Eternal is that in addition to expanding on the really slick, fluid first-person shooter mechanics that it is known for, they also are expanding on the lore and the narrative of the Doom universe, because a lot of people are just like, it's just like shooter fantasy. I don't really care about the narrative. But there's a legion of Doom fans that are like, we just need a little bit more. Yes, a legion, exactly. And so Hugo told me that the Doom universe is mostly there to expand on the game for those fans and address a concern that Doom 2016, of course, again, got a little bit repetitive. And so in our group Q&A that we were having with Hugo at the event, some people were like, so let's talk about the fact that this is obviously like a lot of gratuitous violence, but that's what Doom is known for. And I love that Hugo's like, listen, we're not trying to pretend like this is anything that what it is. We're actually going straight at it and reminding people this is a video game. We're leaning into the video game tropes. His quote that I wrote down was, it's a ridiculous presence with a sincere execution.
That's actually a great quote.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there is a campiness about Doom, right? Like you get the rack, like you get the music going, you're
the
like
glory kills.
And so it's just kind of like Mortal Kombat to me in a sense, where you're just like, well, this is just the over the topness is part of its identity, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I actually don't think, it's gross sometimes, but it's not. There were some stuff in not this past God of War, but older God of Wars where I was like sick to my stomach. I couldn't watch what was happening. I've not felt that once about. You're like, oh, look at his eye, gross. Like that's what I feel like when I watch Doom versus, like gross.
Yeah.
If that makes
yeah,
sense.
no,
I'm
I
with
get it.
you.
Yeah.
I think some of the amazing animation that NetherRealm has done, I think, has made it more gross because they've made it look too real. And that's the huge difference between Mortal Kombat and Doom is that Doom is like, these are all just demons. They're all monsters. They're fictional. Whereas Mortal Kombat is like, this is a real body. This
And we're
is
gonna go
human.
Right.
slow
And like you
motion
can
and
kind of
show
imagine
you, rip
your
it
spine
apart.
getting ripped out, and you're like, maybe please don't.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's. I mean, we all have eyes. So even
kinda
seeing the eyeball
tongue-in-cheek.
getting stabbed is like, oh, it's gross. But it's also it's a giant weird demon.
Yeah,
It
the
kinda looks like
Cacodemon is
Krang.
really
Right,
literally
so-
the name of one of the monsters in the game.
What demon?
The Cacodemon.
Sorry,
And
what?
The Cacodemon.
Say it again.
The Cacodemon.
Kako.
You throw grenades into his mouth, and then you can do a glory kill on him.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
That in the gameplay. That's fun.
good.
Yeah,
That's good.
he's a little asshole, that guy. But
Doesn't have one after you blow him up.
That's true.
okay, fair. But one of the things I did want to make sure to talk to Hugo about when we were doing the interview was I said, hey, last year there was a couple of games that kind of got into hot water, like air quotes, hot water. Internet debates were unfolding around this idea of difficulty, around the game being purposely difficult for the sake of being difficult, and what are like the benefits of that, and is that gatekeeping in specific ways, and why do games like that exist, and is there a purpose? And we're not going to get into that debate right now, but I asked Hugo, in that frame set, like obviously Doom is a hard game, and you guys offer these really crazy difficulties, and you make the player use strategies, and you've designed it in a very specific way. Are you concerned at all that you've now made your game inaccessible to certain players who are interested in getting into your game because they love it as a studio? And he said that we're not trying to make a hard game. We're trying to make an engaging experience. But he also said, we do have something to teach you. And that's why in Doom Eternal, they have a more extensive tutorial system that's tailored for people that potentially aren't really proficient in first-person shooter games, but are interested in playing. And that's why they have different difficulty settings. And they really made a concerted effort, he said, to tweak how they changed and ramped up the difficulty between each of those settings. He said it's different from the way that they did it in Doom 2016 because he thought that, well, not he specifically, but the team at id thought that some of the ways that they ramped the difficulty between the levels in Doom 2016 was too punishing and almost felt intentionally punishing for whatever reason. And so they went back to the drawing board and said, why did we make those decisions? What decisions can we change to make this feel more rewarding for people at higher difficulties instead of making it feel punishing for people? And I thought that that was really smart of them to say, hey, we want this game to be fun at the end of it. Obviously, they want to sell copies, and the best way to sell copies is to make it more accessible.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it is that somebody like me who plays a lot of FPS can go into a game like Doom and feel like I am capable of being good at it, whereas I did not feel that way with Doom 2016. I felt like that game was too difficult for my patience level to sit and learn and master it. But going through the tutorial, the first couple of levels in Doom Eternal, I was like, you know what? I'm really excited to play more of this game. But they haven't sacrificed any of that difficulty or mastery of the higher levels for the players that want it and need it. And I think that's exactly what they needed to do. To satiate those people who are like, I want it to be punishing. I want it to smack me in the face and be like, bitch, is that all you got?
That's a thing for people.
That should be the name of one of the difficulties. That's great.
Bitch, you ready for more?
You want more?
But also it's like, hey, we still want people to not be afraid to pick this game up and play it. And so I really commend id for striking that balance in what I have played. And at the end of it all, like they have just nailed everything from the sound design to the music choices to the level design to the combat design. All of it just feels like it's firing on all cylinders. And like in my mind, this is 100% a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah. I think we're all quiet because we know.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. I mean, it was a really good demo.
that I wonder about with myself in this game is I feel like it'll probably go on too long for me.
Actually, yeah, I read something. I think double the length, a 20-hour game. Some article on Destructoid.
Yeah,
I
remember hearing something like that.
20 hours, and yeah, it's double the size of Doom 2016.
And for me, I'm like, I know that everybody wants more. I don't want more.
more.
I want a good edited
good romp.
experience. And that's not to say, I guess, that this won't be. But the fact that they've already talked about, like, they felt the first one was too repetitive, but then they're doubling the size of this one, makes me a little nervous. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that they didn't succeed in their goal. So
Yeah,
I'm
for
excited
context,
to see.
double the size could have been maybe like the levels themselves,
Sure.
where you can just run around more. Because I'm with you. Pew pew pew. So you found yourself playing this game for 3 hours and not needing to take a break.
No, and I thought I was going to. Like, normally when I'm playing a game or we're at an event and the session is like 3 hours long, I'll like take periodic breaks to get up and get like a coffee or get a water or go to the bathroom. And at no point did I feel an urge to like put the controller down and go.
It was like me playing The Sims, where you're just like, what? Time has passed?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like, I was actually really surprised by that because I was so engaged to keep going level to level. And I think that's because they did a really good job of pacing out the difficulty. And so it's like, it felt like they set a challenge in front of you, but the challenge was not so punishing.
It didn't feel insurmountable.
Exactly.
And you were
Like, I
like,
didn't feel like
oh.
I was dying over and over and over again with the same bosses. And I was playing it on like the medium difficulty. And it felt like the pacing was right. And I imagine at some point, either midway through or at the end of the campaign, like the difficulty obviously will ramp at some point, but then
Not more demons.
But you'll be good at that point.
right.
Yes.
I think the idea is that they've now laid the groundwork for you with all of the mechanics that
good.
they've introduced, right? To say like, hey, you have the tools, use the tools to.
We believe in you, Padawan.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's exciting. I'm happy to play it. This is the kind of game though where I do like to turn down the difficulty. Obviously it's a shooter. That's what I do. But I like to blow heads off, saw things in half, listen to that music. It's just a good ego boost, the Doom games. But I will try on medium difficulty, see how I do. But I just like to feel powerful in that game.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, Doom is great for that. I mean, it is like a power violence fantasy.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what
That's
Doom
pretty much
is.
exactly that.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Just to clarify, I have not had any hands-on time with the multiplayer mode, the battle mode in Doom Eternal. All of my impressions are strictly about the campaign. But honestly, I don't even care about any other modes. I only want to play the campaign. That's it. And I mean, I'm really glad that this game is coming out in just a couple of months. It looks really good. And it was interesting hearing Hugo talk about the delay because originally this game was supposed to launch in November with Stadia, right? It was supposed to be like the one big AAA launch that Stadia had, and it was pushed to March. But it's good that they did that because now he's like, we're able to put the polish on the game that id requires of an id game, and the bar is high.
We hear a lot about this polish.
Polish.
We heard a lot about polish lately.
We need a new word
Gotta
for polish.
Put a little elbow grease into
Elbow
it.
grease.
You know?
Yeah. But I trust in id's ability to polish. Of all of the developers that work in the FPS space, they know what they're doing, and I think they also recognize that they've set the bar not only for themselves but for their community, and that they don't want to release something that isn't befitting of the name id Software.
Word.
So, yeah, I'm glad that they delayed. Put the polish in that you need. What I
Hilarious.
played ran like butter.
Like warm melted
warm
butter. Like
I
a
sliced
nice
through that
bread.
cacodemon like butter.
Ooh, girl.
You know, butter is sometimes difficult to slice.
That's why you gotta make sure it's melted.
It's gotta
and
be
take a
room
hot
temperature,
knife,
room
slice
temperature
it.
butter.
No, but that's why you slice. It's fine. Listen, if you guys did not take the time, please go to youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. Check out a little bit of the gameplay that I've posted. I know a lot of other people have posted as well. They only allowed us to post 15 minutes. I think my clip was around 11 or 12 minutes long. But the game looks fantastic. So enough about Doom Eternal. I think that's going to probably be the bulk of our segment because Steimer, you've been watching something?
I mostly,
reading something?
I've been doing a lot of real life things. I was
game
hungover
of
one
life.
day, so I watched
It's too real for all of us.
season 2 of Sex Education on Netflix.
How is that?
It is a fantastic show.
Okay.
If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend it. It's all about teenagers in this town. And the main character, his mother is like a sex therapist. And so she's always talking to him about sex and all these things. And like, she's super comfortable with it and he is not.
I would not be
and
comfortable.
so
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just like, and all of the casting is beautiful. Like all of these kids just really do feel like awkward teenagers. But so, the first season is all about that kid starting like his own sex clinic at school, where he starts to like solve kids' problems that they're having, because holy
like
shit, everyone in the
Dr.
school
Drew or whatever?
is sexually active. Kind of, yeah. And then it's all about relationships, and now we're jumping into season 2. It's even more so, and the show is so good, and it's so well written, and it's so well acted, and it is so gut wrenching sometimes, and it also so funny. Because the gut-wrenching part is just you being like, oh, I feel I've been here. And
like awkwardness?
Not even awkwardness, but just like the whole I like you, but I don't know if you like me. And the whole
teenage angst.
The teenage love triangles that happen sometimes where you're like, well, I really like Andrea, but I can't tell if Andrea really likes me. But Brittney's very much into me. So do I just go with Brittney? Because like Brittney is the one showing me interest. But like you do secretly like me, but you will not tell me. And so it's just shit like that where you're like, ah! Like it's so frustrating, but also so fun to watch at the same time. It's a very bingeable show.
And this is a Netflix exclusive,
it is
right?
Netflix, yeah, they produced it.
Interesting, because I just saw a story saying that they were going to spend over $17 billion on content in 2020.
Oh, damn.
I'm also excited. I haven't watched it yet, but there's another season of Grace and Frankie, which is also one of my favorite Netflix shows. And I am so excited.
That's with Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I aspire to be Lily Tomlin's character, Frankie, when I get old, minus the pot that she smokes. She smokes a lot of pot. I don't need to do that. But otherwise, she's wackadoodle crazy, and I love her.
You want to be wackadoodle crazy?
I already am.
I was going to say, I got good news for you,
I'm on the
baby girl.
trajectory. I am going to make it, I think.
You're going to be great.
I'm going to just yell. I kind of can't wait to get old and like even crotchetier.
Yeah. Ooh.
Just be
I like it.
Just be like,
Yeah.
you know what? I don't give a fuck about what you're saying. Just
I
but,
feel
like
like-
people's faces, because I'm very demure in real life.
And when you're older,
true.
people kind of just give you a pass anyway.
Exactly. I think Grace and Frankie is also a beautifully written show, because it touches on a lot of points that you really don't think about. I think season 1 has a lot of it, where it's like season 1 and 2, especially of being an older woman and what that means and how you feel invisible, and like people don't pay attention to you. And I can't remember if they do just steal it. They like steal something because they're like, you don't fucking see me anyway. Like just like steal some
They
gum.
just become shoplifters?
No, it was just like this one part in the grocery store. I can't remember if they actually take it, but it's basically like, should I just like,
They won't notice me
no
anyway.
one's noticing me, so I may as well just take
Grace
this
and
fucking
Frankie.
thing and go.
Just no surprise. I've never heard of that show.
It's
but
so good.
you tend to have good taste in things.
Yeah. And a lot of these shows, I mean, they make me cry, but they mostly make me laugh. They have a nice range of emotions while watching them.
Good. Yeah, I've heard good things about both shows. I think I've only seen like a half an episode of Grace and Frankie, because I wanted to get into it and then I got distracted and then I just never went back to it. But
Girl,
yeah.
take your ADD medication and sit down and watch
Okay.
because it's good. The first season is really, so if you have no idea what Grace and Frankie is, I should probably give you at least the general premise. So Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda's characters are two women married to two men at the very beginning of the show, and they kind of hate each other. Like they just, Frankie is Lily Tomlin's character. She's very much a hippy dippy, like free spirit, let's sage the house, that kind of thing. And Jane Fonda's character is very uptight, very business, very prim, proper. Their husbands are partners in a law firm together. One day they go to dinner. This is the very first episode, so I'm not spoiling a lot. And they say that they are both leaving their wives for each other. They have been having a gay affair for a very long time. And now that they are like in their 60s, 70s, I guess 60s, they want to be free and like just live the life that they have always were too scared to live. So then it's like it kind of goes into all of that element, and then also the feeling of like abandonment and confusion that the women have. And that sounds horrible, but the way that they tackle it is it can be very funny at times and like uplifting and a little bit light, and then they also do kind of dive into like, oh shit, these are some like real feelings, and it's a really fucked up situation for a lot of people, and how they all deal with it is very different. And then the show kind of moves on from it after season 1. Like that's not at this point, I think it's 5 or 6 the season now, I don't remember which. So at this point, like that's kind of long gone. Like they're they resolve that issue and then they go into other things, but the characters are just so great. I love these shows. Yeah. These are two of my favorite
Summer's
shows.
Netflix corner.
I'll do books and Netflix.
Listen, I've always wanted to do more on other kinds of media. Obviously, you guys come to What's Good Games for video game content, but we all, as human beings, enjoy a variety of media.
Yes.
So,
and like right now, it's a little light on the games front, so I've been enjoying other things and still reading The Wise Man's Fear, and I actually like it a lot.
Yay!
So I'm excited to keep reading that.
And now I need to reread it, and then we can do a segment on it.
It'll be like a book club.
Have our wine. We'll both wear glasses.
Oh, that would be cute. It'll be great.
We're like, yes.
You can have like a candle lit. Have the cats up here.
Yeah,
wear scarves.
I'm into it. And Brittney, you started playing something, but aren't quite ready to dive into hands-on impressions yet. But you've started playing a game that I wanted to start last year, Greedfall.
So Greedfall. So I've been playing for like 15 hours. But the problem is that I've done nothing but side quests. So I recently looked at the main story list. IGN has like a chapter index of them, and I was like, okay, how far am I in the game? Oh, I'm like 3 in, so I'm very very early.
Like, I should probably none of the main quests.
Yeah, I should probably start doing things. So this is a game that
are you gonna be super OP then?
Yeah, probably. This is what I did in Horizon, for example. Like they're recommended level 10. I was like 26. It was not. I mean, it was great. I loved it. I felt like a very strong badass. So this game is developed by Spiders and published by Focus Home Interactive.
Developed by spiders?
Yeah.
That's
like
terrifying.
8-legged spiders. Published September 10th, 2019 on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So I'm looking at what Spiders has done in the past.
Yeah, so this game really went under the radar. And there's been a couple of people that have reached out to us to ask if we were thinking about playing it or trying it. Because I read an article, I think maybe it was on Kotaku, that was comparing this to the BioWare RPG they've always wanted, but was way more than they actually wanted. So I think what they were trying to say is it's a lot of the tropes that you see in a traditional BioWare RPG, but like they're all like mashed together in a way that kind of is a little overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's not incredibly... So yeah, I mean, the idea is that, and this is my brief understanding of it, is that you are... Desarde, you can play as a man or a woman, you can create your character, and you are leaving your home island. And again, I'm not going to get all the technical terms right because I'm not super into it yet, but you leave your home island area because there's something called the Malachor, which is making all of your people sick and killing them, and your mom's affected, and it's all bad. So you're going to this island that has recently been inhabited by, there's 3 factions. There's the Bridge Alliance, Teleme, and then you guys who are kind of like the neutral parties, and you are a legate, so you are the one who's trying to making sure everyone is getting along and
You're
being
like Switzerland.
friends. Yeah, you are Switzerland.
I'm Swiss. I'm neutral.
Exactly. And that's your job, and you are going to this island. But the problem is there are natives that have been living there for a while, so everyone's kind of like, okay, how do we deal with this? Like, how do we make sure we have a civil relationship with one another? How can we help each other out? And that's kind of at the part where I am. So a lot of the side quests I've been doing has been like, okay, like these people aren't getting along, go fix it, or go do this and figure out why these people are being killed. And everyone has their reasons, and then it's up to you to figure out how you want to solve those issues.
So what kind of time period are we in? Is this like a fantasy game? Is it like current day? Like,
it's fantasy style. It's kind of medieval, but everyone wears like hats and like sailor garb kind of. I don't know what that fantasy is. Maybe steampunky, maybe not. No, not steampunky.
Like, is there electricity?
Yes.
Are there guns?
Yes. And there are melee weapons.
So it's guns and melee?
Guns and melee, and you're wearing like medieval garb, but you don't. And actually, there is like chainmail and helmets like that you would wear, but traditional fantasy. But you also wear like regular like sailor hats, for example. Haven't quite got the grasp on it yet.
To be a jolly old sailor.
Now you can't be in Greedfall.
In
chainmail.
It's great for when you're on the open seas and you accidentally fall overboard. Oh wait, no.
Oh wait, that's how you die.
You go down to the bottom of the ocean and sniff it, and then you die, and it's not good. Sniff it. Don't sniff the bottom of the ocean. So you are Desarde, and then you start out with your dude who's been raising you from the beginning, not raising you, helping you get good at armor fighting, like steel. Her name is Kurt. He's been training you and your cousin, because you have a cousin named Constantine who was kind of like a silly guy. Again, that goes too far into the story.
Constantine, you're so silly.
Constantine. Yeah, and I just want to say the acting is so good. I think all the dialogue I see is so well written, and the actors do a phenomenal job at it. The story lore is great. The problem, I think, is kind of in the execution of the game itself. There are a lot of instances where I'll be having conversations with NPCs or characters, and they refer to my character as a him, when it's obviously not. I'm a woman, right? And so they're like, what is he doing here? And that's happened probably a dozen times in the time I have been playing the game. Not a terrible
just
thing.
like you're just makes
That's like
you,
a
it just
quality.
distracts
That's a
you.
quality control problem, right?
Yeah, it's a quality control problem, and sometimes like the lip syncing is just a little off. So I get where people are saying the BioWare game, right? Because it does kind of have some of those Dragon Age Origin vibes. I don't want to say that too heavily because I feel like that's kind of setting it up for failure. Because I feel like Dragon Age Origins is a masterpiece, and to compare anything to it, that's not even remotely close to that.
Yeah.
Not good. But it is a lot of fun. I do need to get back on the main trail because it's kind of has the thing in Inquisition where you have all the little sandboxy areas, all the different areas of this continent. You're on this new island, but they all look very similar. So that's kind of a downfall where like in Inquisition, for example, they all look very different. These all look kind of the same, kind of treesy, kind of
We all know how you
dirt.
feel about trees.
There's rocks, there's cliffs, and you explore these areas, and they're relatively large. And on there, you can uncover campsites where you can camp, craft armor.
So there's a crafting system?
There's a crafting system. As in depth as I've got is you can slot things into your armor to give you buffs, like lock picking and
makes
whatnot.
sense.
Yeah. So I'm still like, dipping my toes in it, but I will say it is a good time. It is a lot of fun right now with a lot of these big games getting delayed. If you're looking for something kind of hearty to sink your teeth into, it is a fun throwback. And like I said, the story is great. The characters are incredibly well written. There is romance.
Ooh. I want to hear more once you've played more because I want to know about the progression, like how you develop your character, what kind of skills you're working with.
So I can actually talk about that a bit. So when you do level up, every few levels you get different points. So you have, I don't have it in front of me, but you have your main tree where you can increase the damage you do with one-handed by 10%, or you can be a mage, or you can do two-handed. So there's that tree. And then there's the tree of
the combat tree.
Yeah, the combat tree. And then there's the tree of your charisma, of your lock picking, of your science.
So your skills.
So your skills, the things that open up different dialogue, you pass checks and stuff in conversation.
Sure, yeah.
And then there's like agility and other things that help you
like
do
your health tree, essentially.
kind of. It's more, no, I wouldn't say that.
Health / stamina?
No, it's more, I'm kind of drawing a blank here, but it's more of like agility. It makes you do, and lets you wield more. Okay, it's like strength and agility on the same tree. So that lets you wield two-handed weapons more efficiently, or lets you have certain weapons in your arsenal, right? So there is a lot of character customization, and I do have 4 new party members now, and they're all pretty.
Ooh, party members.
Yeah, so the other thing, you can have 2 party members with you at a time. You run around the world. Sometimes there is banter, not as much as I would like to see. It's not like Dragon Age style. Again, I keep comparing it, but
What about comparing it to something like the Outer Worlds? From a party companion kind of standpoint.
Yeah, the Outer World still does it better.
I mean, obviously.
But what
It's
I mean by
Obsidian,
that,
yeah.
but what I mean is, there are instances where I wish there was more in depth with the characters because during those moments, and there are like personal quests that the characters need you to do if you want to increase your relationship with them. But there are moments where you would wish there was more banter, and it's just little things like that. I feel like we're 75% of the way there. Granted, I still have more to play, but if it would have just been a little bit more effort, this could have instantly been an insta classic.
Yeah, because all of the gameplay in the demos that I've watched online, because I had some people reach out to me and be like, hey, have you played a demo of this? I go, no. In fact, I have not heard from their PR team once during the entire lead up to Greedfall's release, and even post release. I don't even know anybody on that team, and so I thought about buying the game just to try it out because so many people have said to take a look, and all of the animations and stuff I saw looked really good. It seems like it's on the track to wanting to be a really cool kind of action RPG, but they maybe were underfunded in some key categories. But instead of maybe editing out some features, they were like, we're just going to do it, and it's just going to be kind of there and not be really compelling. And that's kind of a bummer. I almost wish they would have maybe focused their scope a little bit and said, hey, instead of us having companions, maybe we cut companions and focus that budget on more voice acting or more writing so we can make the interactions with your primary character and the NPCs more meaningful.
Yeah, in this case, I would say the companions really help make the game great. I think what they could have probably cut back are all the different locations that you can go to that look relatively the same. Sure, there are some side quests and it's good for story building, but not totally necessary. Again, this is a fun game. I'm having an awesome time with it, but when you see something that's so close to just completely nailing the mark, and this is kind of part of the problem doing what we do, it's hard to just sit back and play a game and not kind of look at it through that critical eye. But so far, so good. I'm definitely excited to play more of it. I'm still trucking along in Kakarot too.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's a good sign if you want to keep playing after 15 hours. Because I think that's a good barometer for an RPG. Obviously, like a lot of the best big RPGs, you have to hit like hour 20, 25 before you feel like you're actually playing the game. But if this is a title that you know nothing about, it's a brand new IP, it's a developer you don't know, and you've made it 15 hours in and you're like, I want to play more, I think that's a great sign.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good game. It's a great game. It's just sad that it didn't get the spotlight. And if it wasn't for people in our community, I would never have played it because I didn't even hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the tragedy of having a very saturated game market, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe they can do like I mean, now would be the time to spin up some marketing. I don't know who's in charge of it on that team over there, but be like, yo, we've heard all these games are delayed. You know what's here to play right now? Greedfall.
This game you forgot to play last year.
And here's a new patch incoming, and here's some cool things we've added. That would be great.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Well, I still want to check it out. I still have some other things in my backlog. In fact, I'm playing a game that I can't talk about this week, but I'm beyond excited.
Oh, we're both
to talk
playing
about
this game
next week. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited too.
Yeah. It's going to be great. But next week, everybody. And that's going to do it for this episode of What's Good Games. Thank you so much for hanging out. As always, if you guys have not subscribed to us at youtube.com/whatsgoodgames, please, that helps us out. Also go and check out my Doom gameplay. We've got a lot of other cool playlists and stuff for you to check out there as well. If you would like to support the show in another way, maybe you want to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Or, of course, you can always join our memberships at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. We will be back next week with another episode, but for now, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.